Hello, everybody. Today is not a Galactic Mayan astrology report. Today I have a very special guest. This is Payge
Hello.
Ryder. He's very important to me. And as we are filming, we're approaching the White Mirror wave spell, which is the wave spell that takes us into the center of the process of what it is to be a human being. And Payge is a white mirror. And the reason that I felt like I wanted to have her on as my first ever guest to the channel, other than Taco, who, appears every now and then. I've not sat down and properly interviewed him. Is because, Paige's life and work really reflects the essence of the white mirror. And I feel like she's a really wonderful example of what it is to really live your archetype and how your archetype can, once you start working consciously and doing the work, can really support you to come into alignment. So before I share a little bit about our connection and our journey, would you mind just introducing yourself and saying hello?
Hello.
So
My name is Payge Ryder.
Yeah. And so you are, what is your work?
I'm a homeopath and a self-development coach and a wellbeing practitioner. I offer homeopathic counselling.
And it's amazing. And this is one of the things that, so Payge came into my life when I was 17 and completely transformed my life. She took me under her wing as mama and really supported me to go from kind of being in a victim space within the things that had happened to me. And when I say victim, I mean feeling completely disempowered with my experiences and, like having lost my mom and lots of other horrendous shit happening. Once she came into my life, it was like, I just feel like she just scooped me up and was like, we can turn this round, love. It's going to be all right. You're going to be all right. And, and we've had quite the fucking journey, haven't we? And I think this is, the beauty of what it is to have soulmates. We've really taken each other to the core of our shit and come back together with such a deep, profound, otherworldly connection. And so I felt like it would be really amazing for the people that, tune into the Galactic Mayan waves to learn a little bit more about homeopathy, but also to connect with you because, this is somebody that's been a huge guide for me on my path. And I know a lot of the people that tune into the Galactic Mayan stuff that I share do so because I've got a bit of an alternative perspective on it about evolving through it. And, that is because of this woman. So in terms of, I guess let's start with your experience, if that feels good for you. So would you mind telling us a little bit of the story of kind of what took you to homeopathy? How did homeopathy come into your life?
Yeah. Well, it was through me being very, very seriously ill in my 30s, my early 30s, and going to my doctor and basically being told that I just needed to see a counsellor. And I absolutely knew without a shadow of a doubt at that point that I definitely did have some childhood trauma that needed addressing at that point. However, I also knew that there was definitely some real physical stuff going on, that needed also to be addressed.
Can I just ask what was kind of going on for you that took you to the doctors in the first place?
Well, there were lots and lots of different symptoms, physical symptoms, emotional symptoms. I had a big lump in my throat at that point, which was frightening. That was all my lymph nodes that were really inflamed at that point. I ended up with panic attacks, agoraphobia, ME, lots of things to do with skin things, not eating, not able to eat, feeling sick, headaches. It was like a multitude of different things, and it almost got to a point where I felt like a bit of a hypochondriac because there's all these things going on for me, and I'm thinking there's something wrong. I know there's something wrong. And then I eventually went to see a homeopath myself. I went to see an actual doctor who was a homeopath, so a medical homeopath. And It was her that actually gave me a book about a thing called systemic candida. And systemic candida is where the bacteria that is candida, that we all know of as thrush, is in the whole of your body. It literally takes over the whole of your body, so it invades every organ of your, you know, in your body, your brain. It affects your brain, your liver, your kidneys, your heart, everything. And I went back and told the doctor, I've got all the symptoms of this, and it was sort of said that I couldn't have that possibly, because I would have needed to have already had cancer and chemotherapy and things like that for that to have for my body to have broken down to that degree. So although I'm not going against the medical system, as in it's really useful in so many different ways, there are lots of things that the medical system can do that I can't, you know. So this is not a slant against them at all. This is just to say that there are other things that sometimes they don't know everything. So I had to go away, and that was actually my saving grace, that I had to go away and look for my own answers. And it was through a homeopath that I found the answers, and I started to have treatment and gradually start to sort of heal, if you like. But I can remember going in to see my homeopath after, it was quite some time, and I said, why am I still getting these symptoms? Not as bad, but they were still there. And she said, are you ready to deal with this? And are you ready to deal with this? And I knew what she meant, the stuff that was in my head, that and the stuff that was in my heart, the stuff that had hurt me, the trauma that I'd suffered as a child. Was I ready to face that? Because you know, it was a real sort of profound moment for me. And at that point I started, I did take the steps to get psychotherapy, and I started to read lots of self-help books, you know. So it was that thing that my journey of looking, you know, what is this, you know, this, that I call it the searcher, you know, at that point. Where you become the searcher, you know, to try and get the answers that you need, because you know something's not right. And it's, you know, I wasn't prepared to just stay there. I wasn't, you know, prepared to be in that place of being so seriously ill. And I remember, like I say, she was a medical homeopath, and she did say to me that I was sort of that close to getting cancer or leukemia. I was so close to getting past the point of no return, because it breaks down your system so much, you know. So that was the sort of start for me, really. And that was the start of the journey of looking beyond my physical symptoms as well. And I think that was what was so important for me. I sort of came across the law of attraction, which I found was amazing. But then it's almost like I took the law of attraction and took it further, you know, in terms of, like, for homeopathy, for instance, it's about susceptibility. So there's nothing out there that can harm you. It's about what you're susceptible to getting. Do you know what I mean?
What you're magnetizing in.
Yes, exactly. And what you fit with in some way. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, not everybody in a room full, you know, if there's 11 people in a room, one of them's got flu, not the other 10 people will all get flu. Some of them will, because they fit with it and they're susceptible to it in some way. So it was you know, the idea that actually there's something else going on. You know what I mean?
that for me is the essence of the white mirror that you really bring. So how did you kind of come from your experiences with homeopathy to actually training as a homeopath? And what would you say, if you were to kind of distill homeopathy and the work that you do, what would you say, I guess, what's the foundational belief system within homeopathy? What is what's the baseline?
So it is a bit like the law of attraction, which is the white mirror, if you like, you know, the reflection sort of thing, which is that like cures like, you know what I mean? So it's, for instance, if you were to fall in some poison ivy, you'd be really itchy skin and really irritable and really restless. And if you make that into a homeopathic remedy, you would water it down and succuss it, which is bang it, and water it down even more and water it down even more, depending on the potency. And eventually it will become homeopathic. So what it caused in its material form, it would then cure in its homeopathic form. So that's what homeopathy is. So it's very much, you know, like cures like. So what symptoms as a person got, you know, physical, emotional, it's a holistic, energetic therapy modality, if you like. So whatever is going on for a person, emotionally, physically, spiritually, you know, all those different things, you would be matching that to a remedy, you know. So it's almost like the character of the person, including all their triggers and limiting beliefs and subconscious stuff, fits with a character almost of a remedy type thing. Do you know what I mean?
This is incredible. And yeah, just to kind of share a little bit of my experience within, you know, having worked with you and what kind of happens in a consultation. You know, I guess for me previously, whenever I'd gone to see somebody if something was going on, you know, the questions that I was asked were very narrow and very specific to, I've got a cough. Tell me about your cough. What's your cough like? In consultations, in this sense, you know, how's your sleep? How's your periods? How's your poo? How's your head? How do you feel in certain situations? What's your favorite animal? All this random shit. It's like, oh my days, like what is going on? But like you were sharing then, it's to kind of, I think the idea is that what we're experiencing is a picture, and that picture has a match somewhere in the medicine.
And also things run through, you know, you know, so you might get somebody who's got, you know, maybe a little bit of IBS and it's a feeling of tightness, but then they get these headaches and it's a tight band. So there's like this themes.
Oh, it's so juicy,
it's sort of like a theme sort of runs through. And then that is, it might be linked to something emotionally as well, where they hold on tight to things, you know, because they can't let go. And again, it's like, okay, and another thing like with homeopathy then is, well, why?
Yes.
Why do you hold on tight? Oh, right, okay, so why? It's not just what, it's not just, oh, that's the physical symptom. Because for instance, somebody who says, oh, I was really, really angry. Okay, tell me about anger, because I might do anger completely different to you. Anger's a subjective thing, you know. So when somebody says I'm really, really angry, I might think, oh, right, they're shouting and bawling. But when I say, oh, tell me, what does that look like? If I was in the room with you, what would that look like? And they might say, oh, you wouldn't know, because I just keep it in. So it's like they'd hold tight to their anger. Do you see what I mean? So
it's incredible.
It's a depth
again, that
go
mirror.
To.
So it's like all the symptoms are mirroring that same thing. And I guess the other part of what you bring to homeopathy is this self-reflection, personal development piece. So can you speak into that a little bit? Because I think this is another, you know, it's a broader piece of you know, what you bring.
I think it's going back to my own sort of journey. I think everything that I sort of teach, if you like, or share, it is from my own subjective experience as well as clinical practice, you know. So it's that thing of, you know, recognizing that my physical symptoms are a signpost almost. Do you know what I mean? It's like your body and its symptoms is always trying to support you to move beyond the things that are holding you back, you know. So physical symptoms are a signpost that point to deeper things, you know. So for instance, if I've got a problem you know, with my foot or something like that, I'm having problems walking, you know, it might be my right foot. It's like, well, is there something going on? Have I got some conflict around moving forward, about being able to walk forward in life? Is there something that I'm walking towards that I don't want to walk towards? Or maybe my left foot, is there something I'm walking away from that I don't want to walk away from? And it's about recognizing the body as seeing it as that there's some sort of inner conflict. But it's not just the body either. The self-development stuff is it's looking at your outer life as well, because outer conflict in your life, so conflict with relationships or anything like that, is always a sign that there's some inner conflict. So for instance, if I one of my things that I've had in my life is to have very critical people, you know, quite, you know, that's how they've learned to be in this world. They've learned to criticize, to maybe sometimes pull people down in a view to lift themselves up somehow. They'll have their own stories to why, you know, and that's fine. But what I started to realize was that instead of seeing the critical person as being the problem, I started to recognize that I was fitting with that in some way. So we fit with the things that we don't like in this world, whether it's our physical symptoms or the difficulties that we're having with other people, we fit with those. So it's like, how do I fit with that? And what I started to realize was, wait a minute, I've actually got a really strong belief that I'm not good enough. Do you know what I mean? And every time I was criticized, it hooked into that old wound, that wound of you're not good enough, and activated it. So it's not that, you know, with the law of attraction, you talk about, you know, oh, well, I've drawn that to myself. It's my fault. That's not what this is about. This is taking that to a different, in a different angle, to a different angle, really, because it's about just recognizing how you fit with things. It's not, I haven't brought it to me, it's not my fault, you know, everybody else is culpable for what they've done wrong, or how they've been. Do you know what I mean? But it's about recognizing, how do I fit with that? And if I'm fitting with it, then maybe it's like a jigsaw piece almost. Completely. Change the jigsaw piece, you change, that person can't fit with you anymore. So it all starts with, I start to realize that it all starts with me. You know, and it all ends with me. And it's quite an empowering process, is that, because if I'm part of the issue, if you like, then I'm part of the solution.
Completely. And this is something that I feel, you know, I've kind of spoken to in different ways around, you know, when we take that perspective, a trigger is then a doorway. It's like it's not just about, oh, you're triggered and you're reacting, or oh, I'm triggered, I'm reacting, or it's like, oh, there's a doorway here, you know, and this opportunity, this situation, this person, this whatever, is an opportunity, you know, to heal at a deeper level. And then, like you were just saying, you know, then you're not an energetic match for it anymore. So yeah, I guess within my experience of homeopathy, you know, I feel one of the reasons that I'm so passionate about it, and I think it's probably the same for you, I feel very sensitive to the world and this reality. And I think homeopathy for me has always been something that supports my sensitivity. You know, it's like it kind of works with, because it's so subtle, isn't it? And I know, you know, we've both had experiences within the plant medicine world, and you know, I know that that's quite a popular route in this world now, but a lot of people have had really profound transformational experiences within that. But I think the integration of those experiences isn't that available, and I think also it's very yang. You know, it's very like, right, we're going to fucking blast you open, then all your shit's there, and then you're kind of thrown out again. Whereas with homeopathy, it's quite a different process. So in terms of, you know, the actual physical process of homeopathy and like timescales and stuff, you know, how would it work if somebody came to work with you? Like, what would be the process?
The process would be, well, first of all, we'd have like a 20 minutes chat to start off with, just to make sure that, you know, my services are actually, this is the right modality for you, you know, because I'm not, you know, I have been known to direct people in to other modalities that are more suitable. So it's got to be something that I feel is suitable, but also that you feel that you can work with me, you know, you would like to work with me. So it's a connecting, we just connect and just have people can ask questions. And if we do agree that we want to work together, then it's one session a month. That's all it is. It's one session a month, because the homeopathic remedies, the homeopathic process is a gentle unfolding, if you like, over a period of time. It's not like conventional medicine where you take a homeopathic remedy and something changes immediately, your headache goes in 20 minutes or whatever. It's not like that. So it's the remedy is administered, and then after a month, then I would see the client again. So the first time that you would see me, you'd see me for an hour and a half, because I take a full medical history and we just look at the full picture. And like Jyoti was saying, you know, we're asking you all sorts of weird and wonderful questions. So weird. I'd be asking lots of different things about, you know, to get a real full picture of who you are and your personality, and your illnesses and your family medical history and things like that. So that would be the first, so an hour and a half, and then after that it would be an hour that we would spend together. And the thing is, just to say as well, it is a gentle unfolding, and nobody is ever pushed to go anywhere that they don't want to go. It is definitely client-led, you know, in terms of, you know, where somebody wants to go. The remedies will do lots of the work, you know, but if, you know, I find that people, you know, do actually are quite happy to sort of open up and what have you, you know, but I share a lot of things, because I've also written the Mindbody Healing Code and relationship coding, which is part of the Mindbody Healing Code, which is all explains a lot about the subconscious mind, how beliefs are formulated, what we can do. There's step integration, which is a way of actually stopping us from recreating these same beliefs time and time again, and how we can actually start to change those. So I share parts of that with my clients. The first session with me, you might get, you know, quite a few chapters of my book sent to you. Then you might get the relationship coding sent to you another month after that. And there might be suggestions. I might send, I've got lots of insights in my book, you know. So one of them is I am good enough. You can see where that comes from. My own experiences. I am good enough, you know. So it talks, it sort of gives a lots of insights about various different things. So it's quite an inspiring process. And the whole point for it for me is about empowering people, so that they have the tools to start to change things, to change perspectives as well about the world. You know what I mean? Because we live in a blaming culture, unfortunately, and everything is seen as the problem is out there. So like the relationship coding, Mindbody Healing Code, part of that book that I've written is about conflict resolution. It's about understanding, you know, that we're part of it, not that we're causing it, that we fit with it. How do we fit with it? You know, and if we fit with it, then we can change it, you know. And quite often we're trying to change our health, the conflict within interpersonal relationships. We're trying to solve it out there. And actually it's all in here. Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing, that's the starting point. And it's not that I'm asking people to be horizontal and not, you know, step forward and set boundaries. But you can't set boundaries with somebody when you are in it, and when you are triggered by something.
It's so true. And I think this is, you know, this is from my own experience, you know, it's the beauty of this work is that the shifts come and then you're in the same situation, and it's not that you're trying to behave any differently, or it's not that you really realize that your symptoms gone. You know, there've been times in sessions that we've had over the years where she'll mention a symptom that I've said that I've had in the previous session. I'm like, oh fuck, I'd even forgot that I had that going on, because it's so subtle, you know. And like behavior in situations, it's like, oh my god, I just spoke up for myself, you know, I didn't have a voice for fucking years, but then this one, you know, coached me through being able to have boundaries. And maybe sometimes I'm a bit too boundaried now. But this is the beauty of it, you know. And I think it's really, I think it's that the piece that you mentioned about like the blaming culture, I think is something that I'm so passionate about. And it's actually been coming up a lot when I've been tuning into doing the astrology forecasts recently, of like, you're not a victim. And I think the most, you know, a lot of the movements around awakening on the planet at the moment are still quite rooted in that we are powerless to this greater power that's doing something to us. But, you know, I guess with the homeopathic perspective, that's very different.
It is very different, because again, it's about susceptibility, you know. So we have certain susceptibilities, you know, and it's about changing those susceptibilities so that we don't fit with that, you know. So as in the case of, I've got a belief I'm not good enough, so I'm getting all these critical people, and even with constructive criticism, I would probably be triggered. So it's not useful. Do you know what I mean? Even when people are really actually offering something of real value, it wouldn't have been able to have been accepted, you know. So I think absolutely
it's the same thing on the bigger level. And this whole thing of, you know, what that then allows for us as individuals and us as a collective is, you know, we don't have to fight to take the power back within any of these situations. We just change our belief systems, alter our subconscious realm, and then we're not a match to it anymore on an individual or collective level.
It is what it is. I think of it as like jigsaw pieces. We literally are fitting together like jigsaw pieces with, you know, our who we are and what our outer life is, you know.
Completely.
And it's a difficult concept sometimes for people to really grasp, is that, you know, that we fit with that in some way, especially when somebody's maybe being quite abusive externally. It's like, well, you know, that's not my fault, and absolutely it isn't. You know, I must, you know, and I have had people, you know, have a real problem with the way that I look at things, because of thinking that I'm saying that they're to blame, and that is, it couldn't be further from the truth. It's just, you know, it's the idea that actually we fit, it's a jigsaw piece that we fit with, and we can change our jigsaw piece, which means that we change what we fit with. And like you say, we will stand up in different ways then, and set boundaries in ways that we couldn't have done before.
Completely. And again, you know, again, with some of my own experiences over the years, you know, when I was younger and I was having all these issues with boundaries, you know, I had issues with drugs. I got into very dangerous situations, essentially, because I couldn't say no in the moment. And then that led me down a trajectory where I couldn't say no even more, and I couldn't say no even more. And then I'd find myself in, you know, a very abusive or fucked up situation. But once I got my no, now that I've got my boundaries, I know without a shadow of a doubt that I will never be in a situation like that again, because energetically, like I'm different.
And that's quite an empowering process.
Oh my Lord, it's so empowering.
And so this is what's so important to me. I mean, I graduated from university in 2022, the age of 60. Decided to go to university, goodness knows why. But I got a degree in social psychology. And I was telling you that for a reason, and that's completely gone out of my head now.
I was talking about my boundaries changing things.
No idea.
No, it's gone.
Woman of a certain
maybe it'll
age.
Come back at some point.
Menopausal.
Maybe it'll come back.
Both menopausal.
But it was, you know, the empowering. It's very empowering.
Oh, sorry.
Process.
Yes, that is why.
We'll get the thread together.
For my dissertation, I wrote towards a theory of self-empowerment, and that's, you know, it was really, really interesting that's what I ended up writing about, because when I really got asked by my tutor to really think about what is it that I want, you know, what's important to me. You know, and what's really important to me is empowering people. You know, it's not about being the person that people need to come to all the time. It's about giving them the tools and the perspective and the ways of healing that empowers them, you know, to realize that you are not a victim of life. You know, you're not a victim of anything. You know, we have the power to change the things that we don't like in life, and that includes our symptoms, our physical symptoms, as well as our outer life.
And I think, you know, what that then leads to is responsibility, you know.
Absolutely.
And that's something as well, I guess, there's that's like the, you know, the whole victim energy. There is an avoidance. It's sometimes comfier to be in that space than to be in the face responsibility. But the beauty of, you know, going through these processes and working with these medicines, it's like such a subtle, it builds your sense of self so that you're stepping forward in a different way and feel so much more equipped, you know, to be who you are in the world. So in terms of if people want to work with you, I honestly really recommend it. It's a really profound, empowering process, and I particularly feel for, you know, for anything, whether people have got physical symptoms or things going on with mental health or things going on emotionally, or you feel trapped in a situation, or you're feeling a bit locked, like anything.
Relationships,
conflicts
within relationships. And the thing is, that's where a lot of our stuff comes up within relationships. You know, we you know, when we're so closely you know, have these intimate relationships, but it can be in any relationship, but within intimate relationships, I think even more so. You know, our triggers will, you know, because you fit together, you are each other's jigsaw piece.
There's no hiding, is there? I think that's the big thing. You know, for me, I spent a long time single, and then, you know, being in an incredible relationship, I think sometimes when you're on your own, things can come up and you can just put it back in the box, but when that's with another person, there's no fucking box. No. There's no box. It's like, oh shit, right, okay, this is happening. Help!
Deal with it,
What's going on? Why am I doing this? But I think that's, you know, the other really, really powerful powerful piece in this process. It's like, you know, we can be empowered everywhere. So we're going to put Paige's information below, and on her website, her numbers on there. And in terms of, I think people can contact you via WhatsApp.
Through that, through WhatsApp, my number's on there, but just to say as well that, you know, when we talk about relationships and the issues and the triggers that go on within relationships, the difficulties, the conflicts that we have, that's not separate from who you are and your symptoms. It's almost like who I am, my symptoms, my difficulties, my challenges, my beliefs are not separate from the conflict that I've got externally. It's almost like when we say holistic, sometimes we think it's holistic as in this one body, mind, body, spirit, but it isn't. It's mind, body, spirit and everything else that affects me in my world.
In reality.
This
is it. This is it. And I think, you know, for me now, because I am in a, you know, I'm in a conscious relationship, and I think if we are going to be in relationship, we need to have, you know, that support around us. And we've spoken about it a lot, you know, whether we're in a relationship or not, it's so important that we have people around us that can call us on our shit, you know, and help us and not in a conflict way. You know, if you're in conflict and someone's saying you're being a knobhead, like, oh, this is triggering, whatever, I fucking hate that. Oh, this is your dad's shit, fuck you. But it is. But then having, you know, when you've got a therapist in your life that can actually be honest with you, because I think a lot of the time in therapeutics it can be, you know, you are there to listen, but there are always these moments and these nuggets of like, have you thought about this little thing? What would you think about?
I think that's a lot of the work actually that I do. It's very different to sort of counselling or CBT or anything like that. It's very different. It's quite unique, really, I suppose, because it's sort of bringing everything sort of together, you know, really sort of helping people to, because the thing is, I think it's really important to talk about things, you know, to be able to have a conversation about something. But I think sometimes it's really good to get clear and understand who we are. You know, for me, I think I offer like a blueprint for how the human being works in some ways. Do you know what I mean? And it's about getting clear about, you know, who we are, you know, and how we work.
And that's just that is what you gave to me, you know, at 17 years old. Like, it was, this is how the human operates. And you know, once it obviously it's a belief system, isn't it? But it is the most empowering belief system that hacks reality, because any challenge that you and I think this is the thing, once you've kind of gone through enough processes and experienced the change within you, you know that you have the power to transform anything. And then where that allows us to sit in our own lives, in our relationships, but also as a collective is really profound.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much. And as I say, Paige's details will be in the comments below. I really recommend, particularly whilst we're around this white mirror energy, get in touch with her, you know, have a connection call and just start doing the work with her, because it's, you know, this is the time that we have an amazing window on the planet right now to be really doing the work or not. You know, and a lot of the time it's more easy to do the or not, and sometimes we're trying to, but we don't necessarily have the right holding to help us to be able to get that power back, particularly when things feel incredibly disempowering. So as I say, all Paige's details are below. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye guys.